This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them. So Jesus told them this parable. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father,
"Father, give me the shares of the property that belong to me."
So he divided his property between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all that he had and traveled to a distant country. And there he squandered his property in dissolute living. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs. He would gladly have filled himself with the pods that the pigs were eating, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said,
"How many of my father's hired hands have bread enough to spare, but here I am dying of hunger? I will get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against you and heaven before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired hands.'
So he set off and went to his father. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. Then the son said to him,
'Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son.'
But the father said to his slaves, 'Quickly, bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on him. Put a ring on his fingers and sandals on his feet, and get the fatted calf and kill it. And let us eat and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to celebrate. Now his elder son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the slaves and asked what was going on. He replied,
'Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fatted calf, because he has got him back safe and sound.'
Then he became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and began to plead with him. But he answered his father,
'Listen, for all these years I have been working like a slave for you, and I have never disobeyed any of your commands. Yet you have never given me even a young goat so that I may celebrate with my friends. When this son of yours comes back, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you kill the fatted calf for him?'
Then the father said to him,
'Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice, because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found.'"
The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Please be seated. I have no sign for you, but I do have the prodigal son story, the key of F. Feeling footloose and frisky, a feather-brained fellow forced his fond father to fork over the farthings. He flew far to a foreign fields and frittered his fortune, fast feasting fabulously with faithless friends. Finally, facing famine and fleeced by his fellows in folly, he found himself a field flicker in a filthy farmyard. Fairly famished, he fain would have filled his frame with foraged food from the fodder's fragments. Phooey, my father's flunkies fear fancier. The frazzled fugitive fumed feverishly, frankly facing facts. Frustrated by failure and filled with foreboding, he fled forthwith to his family. Falling at his father's feet, he floundered forlornly, "Father, I have flunked and fruitlessly forfeited family favor." But the faithful father, forestalling further flinching, frantically flagged the flunkies to fetch forth the finest fatling and fix a peace. The fugitive's fault-finding father frowned on the fickle forgiveness of the former folderol. His fury flashed but fussy and was futile. The far-sighted father figured, such filial fidelity is fine, but what forbids fervent festivities for the forgiveness of the fugitive found? Unfurl the flags with fanfare fearing let fun and frolic freely flow. Former failure is forgotten, folly forsaken. Forgiveness forms the foundation for former future fortitude. I'll try reading that 3 times. This morning we get a pretty known story to most of us. We have heard the story of the prodigal son at one point or another. We know this story almost to a T, and yet every time we hear this story, for me at least, the word that comes to mind is unfair. Here we have this guy, one of 2 sons, the youngest, who goes up to his father and says to him, "I wish you were dead. I wish you were dead. Give me everything that belongs to me, and I will go and I will leave you alone." To ask for half of your parents' fortune is to say, "I wish that you were not here." And not only does he take the money, he doesn't just take the money and say, "Well, fine, I have what's mine." He takes it and he goes to a far-off country. He gets as far away from his family as he possibly could. And he goes and he has this lavish lifestyle. Pretty much what he decided to do was to go to Vegas and have a really good time spending as much money as he could on a Vegas trip. And then when he finds himself with absolutely nothing left, he's working for a farmer feeding pigs. And he says to himself, "You know, the servants in my father's house, they eat a heck of a lot better than what I'm eating right now. I will get up and I will go to my father and I will say to him, 'You know what, I messed up. Let's try this again.'" But I've always asked the question, was he really sincere? Was he really, truly sincere? Or was he simply saying to himself, "You know what, I can do better at home than I can here"? But regardless of whether he's sincere or not, he goes back to his father's house, and as he gets there, as he's far off, Luke tells us, his father sees him and runs towards him. And I always ask, did the father spend most of his time looking out the window, hoping that one day his son would come back? Did he just stand and wait, hoping and praying that he would come to his senses? What is it that allows a father to stand there, a parent to stand there hoping and praying and waiting? And he gets up to the son, and his son begins to say, "Father, you know, I have messed up." And his father said, "Stop. You are here. Go prepare a feast. Let's get this stuff celebrated. Let's celebrate that you are back home." And they have this big, wild party, and the older brother, I love the older brother, because in a lot of ways, the older brother is me. And if we are honest with ourselves, we think that we are the older brother, don't we? "Well, I've been here doing all the stuff I'm supposed to. I didn't wish you dead. I've been doing all the work. I have done all this stuff, and you didn't even give me a small goat so that I can have a small party with my friends. But this one comes back home after squandering everything, and you throw a party for him? Unfair. Isn't that the word that would come to mind? Well, wait a minute. You get to go and do I love Luke's word, desolate living. We know what that's a euphemism for, right? Okay. You get to go squander your life. I am the faithful one, and you get the party, and I don't? How is this fair? And if we're honest, we know that that voice sounds like. We are the voice of the older brother. We want justice. We want him to get what was coming to him, but we don't want what was coming to us. You see, the thing about this parable that Jesus says, this is an indictment of all of us. We've called this parable the parable of the prodigal son, but I think it's misnamed. I think it should be the parable of the forgiving father. Because it's not about the son. It's about a father who will not let that son go. A father who is always ready to forgive, even when it is not convenient. You see, the problem with this father is that he's full of grace and compassion. He's ready to forgive the other person. But for most of us, we want our universe to be binary. We want to make sure that, if you do something bad, bad things happen to you. You do things good, good things happen to you. But we know that that's not how our world works, isn't it? We know that good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. We know that God, though, is forgiving, period. And that is the problem that we have with God. When this father forgives this prodigal son, we scream, that's not fair. The thing is, forgiveness is never fair. God's love, thank God, is never fair. God forgives us when we cannot forgive ourselves. God reminds us that we are loved when we cannot love ourselves. The challenge for us is being able to forgive others when they have said something, done something, or been something that we did not want them or expect them to be. Now here's a question for you. You didn't know that this sermon came with a quiz. How many of us have some people in our lives that we have a hard time forgiving? Better be every hand up. We all have a list. I can probably name 5 people. I'll be generous. 3 people that we have a really hard time probably forgiving right now. But you see, what's forgiveness at its core? Forgiveness is about letting go of the hope that we can change what has passed. And I will say that again. Forgiveness is letting go of the hope that we can change what is in the past. That person that hurt you, that said bad things about you, that did bad things to you, you cannot go back and change it. But we live in that hope that we can. We love to nurse a grudge. We like to carry those hurts and those slights as if sometimes they are badges of honor. Well, she offended me, so I don't talk to her anymore. Well, he said something bad about me, and I don't want to talk to them anymore. Any of that sound familiar? But the thing is, who is ultimately hurt when we withhold forgiveness? We are. You see, when you are sitting there gnawing on those hurts and those pains, the other person has absolutely no idea that they have hurt you that badly. And so you are the one being consumed while they are off being who they are in oblivion. You see, one of my Old Testament professors said it's like eating rat poison, hoping to kill the rats. The person that ends up hurt is you. Because you see, forgiveness is a selfish act. It's an act about ourselves and not the other person. I can forgive someone without them having to know that I've forgiven them. I can let go of that hurt and that pain without them having to do anything. Forgiveness is about my letting go of holding on to that pain and that hurt and all those things that hold us back. And it is unfair. And thank God that it is. In this very familiar parable, we are reminded that we are called to forgive others as we have been forgiven. The challenge sometimes is forgiving ourselves so that we can forgive others. Whenever we get together as a community of faith, we say the Lord's Prayer, and there's a line in there that we pray, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. We're really good at the first part, making sure that God can forgive us, but the forgiving others part, now that's a challenge. But that's what we're called to be. We're called to let go of the possibility of going back and changing the past, because the only thing that we can influence is our future. The only behavior we can modify is ours. And so each time that we say that prayer, each time that we see that person that we have a hard time forgiving, we are reminded that we are to forgive ourselves first and let go of the possibility of changing our past. Because if we cannot, we do not live fully into God's future. A God who unfairly gives grace and forgiveness and love to whoever asks or calls. A God who says to us, I love you regardless of what you do, and I forgive you even before you come and ask. Because we serve a God who loves us so much that God will not let us go, no matter how far we go, no matter what we do. God's unfair love will always find us and try to bring us home. So my challenge for you, my sisters and brothers, is that list of people that you have that have been hard to forgive. You know who I'm talking about. The ones who have hurt you. The ones who have said bad things about you or done evil to you. Those people. Let go of the hope that you can change that hurt or that past, so that you may be forgiven as God forgives you, even before you ask. That today when we say that prayer, we can say it with confidence, knowing that it is unfair, that God still lives in the midst of it. Forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Amen.